In 2011, in the heart of Nizhny Novgorod, Russia, a scholar's apartment hid a nightmare. Mummified girls, dressed as dolls, their painted faces masking a haunting terror that gripped a city. This is the Moscow Apartment Dolls, Russia, 2011, steeped in documented accounts and eerie whispers of the supernatural, crafted to hook you from the first creak of a floorboard and leave you frozen by its ghastly end. Picture Nizhny Novgorod, a city of ancient churches and winding rivers, where life hums under golden domes. In this unassuming place, Anatoly Moskvin, a 45-year-old historian and linguist, lived with his parents in a cluttered apartment, its shelves sagging under thousands of books. Moskvin was a respected academic, his mind sharp with 13 languages, his articles on Celtic folklore and burial rites published widely. But beneath his scholarly mask lay a darkness, born decades earlier when, as a boy, he was forced to kiss the cold face of a dead girl at her funeral, an event that twisted his view of death into something intimate, almost sacred. I've pored over court documents, police reports, and local testimonies to uncover a story that's not just about crime, but about a haunting presence that lingers in those lifeless forms. Moskvin's apartment was a labyrinth of papers and relics, but its true horror lay hidden in plain sight. He had spent years creeping into cemeteries under moonless skies, digging up the graves of girls and young women, their bodies stolen from the earth. He brought them home, transforming them into grotesque dolls, mummified with wax and rags, dressed in frilly gowns, their faces painted with makeup, wigs perched on brittle skulls. He posed them on shelves, sofas, even chairs, as if they were family, their glass or button eyes fixed in eternal stares. His parents, often away for months, thought these were quirky creations, never suspecting the truth. Neighbors, though, whispered of strange sounds, soft giggles, a faint hum like a lullaby, drifting from his windows at night, accompanied by a sickly sweet smell that clung to the stairwell. Years before the world knew, the cemeteries of Nizhny Novgorod bore scars of Moskvin's obsession. Families found graves disturbed, flowers tossed aside, earth freshly turned, nameplates missing. Moskvin was a familiar figure, wandering burial grounds, claiming research for his documentaries on cemetery walks and the voices of the dead. His writings, published in an obscure paper, spoke of death as a gift, a way to preserve beauty. But no one saw the depth of his madness until 2011, when a terrorist attack in Moscow turned police attention to local cemeteries, where they found evidence of tampering, maps, stolen plaques that led straight to Moskvin's door. On November 2, 2011, police stormed his apartment, expecting clues to vandalism. Instead, they found a house of horrors. 26 mummified girls, some with toy eyes sewn on to watch flickering cartoons, others with music boxes tucked inside, their mechanical tunes, like a bear savoring honey, echoing in the silence. Video footage, later released by Russia's Interior Ministry, showed the bodies in bright dresses, some wrapped in beige cloth, seated among books and toys, a mockery of life. Moskvin confessed, his voice calm, saying he saved the girls from neglect, warming their cold forms, believing one day science would revive them. But locals told a darker tale, of lights flickering in his apartment when no one was home, of a child's shadow moving behind his curtains, seen by a neighbor who fled in terror. Moskvin's mind was a maze of delusion and ritual. He named each doll, held tea parties, sang to them, and marked their birthdays with eerie precision. His studies of black magic and occult lore, documented in his academic notes, fueled his belief that the girls' spirits spoke to him. begging to stay. He used their burial clothes, stitching them into his creations, some bodies kept for nearly a decade, their painted smiles frozen. A paranormal investigator, hired by a grieving family, visited the apartment after Moskvin's arrest, her equipment buzzing with energy, capturing a faint whisper. "Stay with me." In an empty room, the air cold, the smell of decay lingering despite the body's removal, Nizhny Novgorod reeled. Families, identifying their daughters through stolen grave markers, wept for their stolen peace. One mother, whose 10-year-old was taken, spoke to reporters, her voice breaking, saying she felt her child's spirit trapped, unable to rest. Moskvin's trial in 2012 was swift. Deemed unfit by reason of schizophrenia, he was sent to a psychiatric hospital, where he remains, his detention reviewed regularly. His parents, devastated, claimed ignorance, their lives shattered by the son they thought they knew. The case changed the city. Cemeteries tightened security, and Moskvin's building became a place of dread, its tenants reporting footsteps at night, a child's giggle echoing in the halls, and mirrors showing fleeting glimpses of a pale figure in a dress, her eyes sewn shut. Moskvin's own words, written days before his arrest, spoke of death as a lover, the funeral of his youth, a spark that never faded. His editor, a colleague who knew him as a quirky genius, told journalists he saw no signs of the horror, only a man lost in books. But the apartment told a different story, its walls soaked in a silence that screamed. The case gripped Russia, covered by outlets like The Guardian, sparking debates on madness and morality. Families still visit the cemeteries, laying flowers, praying for peace, while the apartment stands empty, its windows dark, though locals swear they hear a music box at midnight, its tune drifting like a ghost, and where the horror takes hold. In 2014, a tenant moving into Moskvin's old building found a hidden panel in the floor, concealing a child's shoe, a ribbon, and a photograph of a grave, its earth freshly turned. That night, the building shook, lights dying, a giggle rising from the walls, chilling residents who saw a shadow, a girl, her face painted, her hands reaching, before it vanished. The items were given to police, but no answers came, the case sealed, Moskvin mute in his cell. Nizhny Novgorod's nights are still, but the apartment breathes, its dolls' spirits watching, their music box humming, calling for the next soul to join them. What's in the silence of your home? What's stirring in the dark? Keep the lights on.